Billy Porter, who I have no idea who that is, says he has to sell his house because of Hollywood strikes starved me out. Interesting. So Billy Porter revealed that he has to sell his house over the ongoing SAG AFTRA strike impacting his finances. Thousands of actors and entertainers are striking in Hollywood and around the country, with the Writers Guild of America or WGA as they demand a rise in pay and residuals in the streaming era. Now, to me, I think like having better residuals definitely makes sense in a lot of cases because like if you have like you want some sort of like ownership in a way of like some sort of content that you are like a part of or some sort of product that you are part of. Like I understand that. I like the idea of like yeah, I put in some work for something and I get paid later on. But for the majority of human beings that work a job, like a typical 9 to 5 job, how many get anything remotely like residuals? Basically none. Pretty much no employee gets anything like residuals other than Hollywood actors, right? So it's kind of funny when you really think about it because think of it. Even if you're like a salesperson, you don't typically get residuals unless you do some sort of like weird selling structure of like maybe solar or like some sort of like big tech product that is technically like a platform or software. I mean, the one that I know can be really good is insurance, where depending on how the insurance payouts work, you could end up getting like income every single month, every single year, as long as your client, your I don't know what the correct term would be, customer, whatever, the person that's like signed up with you for the insurance stays on for multiple years. So you could technically getting money from that person for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line, right? So that's a pretty good residual. But these actors, like I understand them wanting it because everybody would want residuals, like everyone would, but not everyone should. Like not everyone like basically has the right to it. So it's kind of like interesting. Now, what I learned recently about the whole residual side to this, because I watched like an interview with some of these actors, is that, and it's like a really weird thing where when it comes to like residuals, a lot of residuals would actually get paid towards like side characters or like guest stars, but not to the actual main cast. Like, say, say you are in like a TV show for like 2 seasons or something like that, and you're the main person. You might make a good amount per episode. Let's just toss like a number out there. You get paid like $20,000 per episode that you do for 2 seasons. Sounds great, right? But you get zero residuals, zero. But this celebrity that showed up for one episode got paid, a good amount just to show up. But then also every time that episode is shown, they get money, right? So that celebrity or whatever could basically be making like residuals that adds up to like who knows, maybe like 50K, 100K, $200,000 over the lifetime of that episode being shown, and it's shown forever, right? So it could actually be like 200K plus, for example. Like it's kind of like an interesting thing. I think Hollywood is just like a really scummy place to begin with, and like if they can find a way to not pay people legitimately, they're probably going to try to pull it off. Let's see. So thousands of actors and entertainers are striking in Hollywood. Yeah. So, and while the strikes may have a positive outcome in store for actors, Porter is already dealing with the negatives of the situation. I have to sell my house. I don't know when we're going to go back to work. The Pose star 53 told the Evening Standard. The life of an artist until you make FU money, which I haven't made yet, is still check to check. Peter Porter, who played ballroom MC, Pray Tell, and Pose from 2018 to 2021, revealed he was gearing up to work on a couple of upcoming projects in September. However, due to the strike, none of that is happening, according to Porter. That guy looks kind of familiar to me, I think. Now, here's the thing. What a lot of these like actors need to do if they're in this sort of industry is that like they are probably typically in a situation where they get paid a really good amount of money in a very short amount of time, but then maybe nothing for like months or maybe nothing for like a year or two. So like if I was in that situation, if I was like an actor in these types of situations, what I would do is when I get like a huge payday or pay year or whatever, I would stockpile that cash to basically last me for a good amount of time, right? Like I would have like an emergency fund, not at 3 months, not at 6 months, but a minimum for like a year because this thing is so volatile, right? So that means basically have like your bare minimum expenses on a per month basis covered for a year. If I was like some sort of actor where I got paid like crazy amounts of money like that, and then nothing, and that was basically the norm to have it so volatile, I would try to strive for a 1 year emergency fund, right? And the thing is, you also gotta have like money to your name. Like the thing that I never really understood is like a lot of creative people, like these actors, etc., entertainers, artists, whatever you want to call them, they tend to be absolutely horrible with their money. Where like they are constantly living paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how much money they make. They can make like 30K in 1 month, 5K in another month, 100K in another month, 2K in another month, and like just literally never have any money ever. Like it's just so crazy to me. Let's see. So to the person who said we're going to starve them out until they have to sell their apartments, you've already starved me out, Porter told the outlet. The actor's comments come after it was reported that film execs were willing to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses, according to Deadline. And the newly single Porter also slammed Disney CEO Bob Iger, who said actors' expectations of treatment are just not realistic. The business has evolved, Porter said, referring to the streaming era of film and TV. So the contract has to evolve and change, period. To hear Bob Iger say that our demands for a living wage are unrealistic while he makes $78,000 a day. I don't have any words for it but F you, he said, but that's not useful, so I've kept my mouth shut. I haven't engaged because I'm so enraged. When I go back, I will join the picket lines, Porter added. And the current strike marks the first time the 160,000 member strong SAG AFTRA has walked out from film and television since 1980. Now, also, the interesting thing about this, right? Like, personally, I haven't really noticed much of a difference in terms of just like anything being affected by like this strike, right? Which is like different than like the UPS strike where like a lot of people rely on the deliveries of UPS, right? Which we're going to have a story later on for that. But it's like it's kind of interesting when you think about it, right? Because there's so much content on these streaming platforms and so much backup content that they have like in the library, like in the bank, right? Where they could constantly be creating and uploading new forms of content, allowing their stuff to keep going on, and literally have these strikes keep going on and not really feel the pain of it, which is very interesting. Because, not to mention, a lot of these streaming companies can just hire people that are not in this union as well, right? A lot of these streaming companies have employees that would also probably like to be part of a show or a movie or something like that. And it'll probably be cheaper for them to hire within to create shows instead of relying on people within this union. Like that's like the weird thing about this is because like this isn't like a situation where like you only have like Hollywood studios making big production TV shows or movies, right? And movies. You're in a situation where the majority of content being absorbed is not cable, it's not in movie theaters, it's literally streaming like platforms, like all digital. So like it's kind of crazy when you really think about it. It's like what are they really going to be able to achieve? Like all these actors within this union are really actually going to be able to achieve in this type of situation because like think about it. We are in a age now where someone could create their own show, make an income from that could pay for their living expenses, and they could be the only person doing their show, right? I've seen quite a few people that run their own type of like media company where it's just them, and they are able to bring in six figures, seven figures a year doing that, which is pretty crazy when you really think about it. So like imagine like being able to do your own show and not really care. Like a good example of this is probably the biggest podcast in the world, where I think it's really only like a team of like three people, legitimately, and it's the Joe Rogan podcast. So you got Joe Rogan as like the host, the star. You got young Jamie, who's basically doing all the camera work, audio work, right? Then you got like another third person that does like some back end stuff, and that's it. And that is like a nine-figure media empire, right? And it's just like three dudes. Think about that. It's just three dudes because of the internet. So I really don't know what's really going to be achieved in this type of situation because like a lot of these companies, a lot of Hollywood can literally just move on. Like I don't know. It's kind of like interesting. Like I mean, who knows? If someone has more information or thoughts about this, feel free to give your thoughts below. It's just like to me personally, I haven't seen this really affect anything at all, really, in terms of like content or anything like that. People still watch Netflix, people still watch Hulu, people still watch Disney Plus. Like to me, like I haven't really seen this really be like effective in any way, right? Whereas the UPS thing, that thing did not last long, like at all. Like it got solved really quickly. This one could keep going on for like a year or more. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting. Let's see some of these comments too. And there's a lot of them. Let's see. If you can't get by for a few months without work, not only as a homeowner, but as a semi famous actor, then you have bigger problems than a strike. And I agree. Because it shows that this person has probably a very expensive lifestyle, has high expenses, and also no money to their name, basically ever. Strike has only been 3 weeks. Stop painting yourself as a victim. You didn't have the financial acumen or resources to keep the place. I was on strike for 4 months and managed with a family, a real one, found a second temporary job. See, like that's also the thing too, right? Like for example, this strike is only to, I believe, strike like to prevent all the people within this union from like working in like media, Hollywood, etc. Right? So like they couldn't go on to like another person's show and do anything with that because they're basically on strike from like media type of stuff, right? But I don't think there's anything that says that you can't just go work as like a waiter or waitress or a bagger or a salesperson or manufacturing, working in a warehouse, Uber, etc. I don't think there's anything that states that you guys can't do that to make your payments for your home. Interesting. Let's see. I don't get in a decade what he makes in 1 year. It's going to get harder. This guy is living above his means. Let's see. I know SAG actors slash tech people plus, and the vast majority of them make very little money. Most have side gigs. This strike is mostly for them. Those huge houses, etc., cost money, but people will forget that when the cash is flowing in, I'll bet we'll see a number of people quietly selling those ridiculously huge homes. So the writers and actors strike is affecting the bottom of the chain the most, the grips, the electrics, the PAs, the scenics, etc. Middle and low income families are being affected by it. Porter losing his mansion is nothing comparatively. I can understand that. Are all the wealthy actors helping? Of course not. See, that is kind of interesting because, like, 99% of Hollywood is very left leaning, so you would think that all these centi millionaires, nine figure millionaires that are these, like, actors, celebrities, would be like, oh, let me take care of the other people in this union that I'm a part of. But no, that would be socialism or even just generosity, basically, in that type of situation. Let's see. Celebrity net worth has Billy Porter as having made $5 million. Even after paying off taxes, he still got a decent amount of money. As Patrick Ewing once said, we make a lot of money, but we spend a lot of money. Looks like Porter's got to get back to work. Perhaps there's a McDonald's near him that's hiring. Like, oof. And the crazy thing about this, like in Hollywood, etc., all these like little bit more well-known actors that probably have made a few million, their homes are probably so expensive. They probably bought like probably the like most absurd expensive home that they could probably get just to like justify like, oh, I gotta own this like super nice mansion because it's super close to my job, etc. Right? It's like, and we're talking probably about like 3 million homes, 2 million homes, 4 million homes, 5 million homes, right? To me, it's like if I had like 3 million, 4 million to just drop on a home, I wouldn't. Personally, I'd probably just put that into like some sort of investment that pays me per month, where I just don't gotta worry about money ever, right? Like, what would you do if you just had like $2 to $5 million just like laying around? Like, what would you do with that money? To me, I would just structure it to generate income for myself forever. But like, what do these actors like? This is the thing that I never understood. What do these actors do? These celebrities do that have made these millions of dollars? Like, what do they do with this money? Like, you guys make so much money. What do you do with this money? How do you spend all this money? You know? Hmm. Should we start a GoFundMe page for Down Under Like Millionaires? I'm sure they'd do it for you and me. Oh Lord. Feel free to give your thoughts. To me, like I haven't seen like this really affecting anything, and this could probably go on for a very long time.